Namaste. Myself Shaidanand, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering. In the continuation of the fatigue, we are now looking at just the brief introduction what we studied in the last lecture about the fatigue. So it's an introduction of this fatigue that is subjected to repetitive cyclic loading. Due to that, a material or a metal or a structure is in under observation of the dynamic loading, and due to that the stress concentration lead to the crack inside the material, and these are the various particular examples which is showing which is subjected to cyclic loading. And in this we discussed about this type of loading on this particular bridge, and we also discussed about the way in the detail the particular definitions and the overviews of the particular fatigue. This is the test, that is how we can identify the particular fatigue limit of the particular material with respect to the low cycle fatigue and the high cycle fatigue. What are the progressive mode regarding to the material and the loading. So these are the and with respect to that we are also consider the fatigue life of the particular material with respect to the various factors which are the stress differences, that is also called the stress range, the structural detail of the geometry, the material characteristic and the working environment of that particular material, which influence the fatigue life of the particular material. So these are the another the factor which we discussed. And these are the graphical representation, the graph which is showing by they are the three type of stress graph which we discussed. The first one is the complete reverse cycle of the stress, that how this particular graph is showing with respect to the time, and that is showing the loading behavior on a material which is subjected to working in their working condition. So this particular graph is showing the basic stress concentration of the particular material. This is the pure tensile cycle, and this is the random stress cycle that particular material is loading. And on that behalf we discuss the SN curve, that is the stress and number of cycle curve, which is defining the maximum load bearing capacity, the fatigue load bearing capacity of any material we can identify by examining this. So this is the basic graph which is showing the maximum number of cycle if a material passes, that is 10 to power 6 to 10 power 7, if it passes, the material will not meet any kind of a failure. So before that number of cycle, the material has the tendency to go for the fatigue crack, but after passing this number of cycle, the material will go to the endurance, will pass their endurance limit, and after passing the endurance limit, that material will not be come in contact with the fatigue. And this is the high cycle fatigue, as we discussed. This is the basic equation. We just note, you need to note down these particular equations, nothing to do that with. This is the another second kind of that is fatigue limit for the various material, that is the ferrous and that is the iron and the titanium alloy. So as you can see, the stress amplitude below which the material level fail, no matter how large the number of cycles, is called the endurance limit. So this is the stress amplitude that is showing below that the material level fail, that leads to the fatigue strength or the insurance strength of the material. So the stress play a very vital role in the fracture of the material. So in this particular fatigue strength, the stress at which fracture occur after a specified number of cycles, that particular 10 power 7 maximum. And the fatigue life, the number of cycles to fail at a specific stress level. And these are the factors which is defined here by these particular equations. Now, after concluding the previous lecture, Now we will focus the fatigue failures occurring at the microstructural level, that how that particular materials behave at their microstructural behavior, the microstructural aspects of the fatigue failure. So one of the important mysteries related to the fatigue is how does fatigue failure occur if the stress value used below the yield stress. So for examining this particular problem, we will take a look by step that how this particular progression of the failure taking place. So fatigue failure occur because of the microscopic plasticity which can occur below the yield stress and the damage accumulation with the time, that is the number of cycle of loading. So there are the four important stages of the fatigue can be identified. So these are the crack initiated, these are the stage of the crack growth, first stage, second stage of the crack growth, and the ductile failure and the brittle. Basically the failure. So first step, the crack initiation. In notch specimen, this is stage may be absent, and this occur mostly at some surfaces or sometime at internal interfaces. The crack initiation will take place within about 10% of total life of the component. And in that progression, the stage 1, the crack growth, the slip bend, the crack growth, along the plane of high shear stress. This can be viewed as essential extension of the slip portion which lead to the crack formation, sometimes like depending on the crack form. For the stage 2 crack growth, in this stage the crack grow along the direction of the maximum tensile stress, hence the crack propagation is transgranular. So the ductile failure, the reduction in the load bearing area due to the crack propagation lead to the ultimate failure. And that is how the step-by-step procedure of this particular failure is taking place. So the crack which form after stage 1 can be removed by the annealing. That is the time we had to mesh that particular, to overcome the particular damage by the heat treatment process, that is called the annealing. And that is the damage is reversible at that stage. In parallel with dislocation activity, the fatigue loading can give rise to an increased concentration of the vacancies. So as compared to the uniform loading, the vacancies can further play a role in process like climbing over aging or precipitation, etc., depending on the material and the context. So this is the particular flow chart, the crack initiation, dipping, and the crack or the failure defining. So how this particular slip and the fatigue crack initiation. So when a specimen 1 that is showing in this particular figure is subjected to uniform loading, the pure shear that is showing in that particular figure 2, as you can see, that is figure 1, that is shearing is taking place, which we discussed in the dislocations also, edge dislocation, where the slip motion is taking place. So the dislocation moving on parallel, slip planes leave the free surface of the crystal grain, giving rise to the slip line on the surface of the specimen. And the surface step static loading are typically 100 to 100 nanometer high. So the slip is prevent in all grain of the specimen uniformly. When the fatigue loading on the other hand, grain may show slip while other may not. Due to accumulation of the slip band form within about 5% of the total number of cycles to the failure, and which increase with the number of cycles. As you can see, the percentage of that particular cycle leading to the failure. So the surface steps created in this case are fine, that is 1 nanometer, and further due to acceleratory loading, this can lead to the extrusion that is showing in this particular figure, and this is the intrusion in the figure 4. So the intrusion can take place at the notch which stress concentration are at a precursor to a full blow crack. That is how this figure is a clarification here in this particular. And this is step by step particular failure. The static loading to the dynamic and the failure of that particular is taking place. So the fatigue process, crack initiation, early development of the damage, stage 1 crack growth, deepening of the initial crack or the shear plane, stage 4-2 crack growth of the well-defined crack on the plane normal to the maximum tensile stress, and the ultimate failure is taking place. As this is the 3 stages which we discussing throughout the lecture. The crack initiation in the area of stress concentration near the stress riser, inclusion existing cracks. The incremental crack propagation, rapid crack propagation after crack reaches the critical size. The total number of cycle to failure is sum of the cycle at the first and the second stage, that is NF, NI, that is NP. That is defining the NI, the number of cycle of the failure, NF, number of cycle of crack initiation, NI, and number of cycle crack propagation, NP. So the high cycle fatigue low, the NI relatively high with increasing stress level, that is NI decrease and NP dominates. This is the fatigue crack initiation and propagation in the stage 2 taking place, as you can see in the figures. The crack initiation, quality of the surface and the site of the stress concentration defining the micro crack, scratches, indental, interior, corners, dislocations, slip steps, etc. That is performing the crack initiation. And the alternate stresses, that is the slip band, the surface rumpling is taking place here, as you can see. The crack propagation is taking place, the slow propagation along the crystal plane with the high resolved shear stress involve a few grain, that is the flat fracture stress surface, and the fast propagation perpendicular to the applied stress, that is you can see in the first and the stages 2. That is the fast propagation perpendicular to the applied stress. The crack grow by repetitive blunting and sharpening process at the crack tip. So the rough fracture surface and the crack eventually reaches the critical dimension propagate very rapidly. So you can see in this particular the slip band and the propagation band from the stage 1 and 2 is defining by this figure, and that is how this particular progression of the particular fracture is taking place. So as we discussed, the fatigue crack propagation in the stage 1, the growth along the slip band due to the shear stress, which can be thought of the crack dipping. The extension of the crack is only a few grain diameter. During this stage, a few nm per cycle is taking place. And the stage 2, the marked faster crack growth for the micro per cycle and is dictated by the maximum normal stress present. So the stressation characteristic of fatigue crack propagation are seen in this particular stage, the fatigue situations. Each situation is produced by one cycle of the stress are seen in this particular stage factor, stress situation, as you can see. The crack particular propagation. So the important portion of the fatigue failure in the stage 2 crack growth, the hands, understanding the same help on one predict the failure cycle per time and hence plan the fail of the same design. So these all are why we are discussing that the discussion is taking place for designing of the material, for the safety of the material. So this is the just a numerical propagation regarding the crack growth. You can just check it out, these slides, by this propagation method. And that is also helped by the Panis law. That is only just for the knowledge, not for the depth. That is the figure showing the particular number of cycle, crack initiation, progression of the material. That you can see that is the zero number of cycle, there is no changes. As you can see, the number of cycle increases at 10 to the power 4, that is relative. And when it is to the twice, that the perpendicular propagation of the crack is taking place, as it is related to the that particular propagation, that is the propagation of the crack initiated, and this is the particular propagation at the 10 to the power 5, and then the double of that particular is shown here. So that is how this you can see from this figure to this figure, the crack is initiated at that graphical level, the microstructure level that is showing here. So this propagation, as you can see, it is very, there is nothing is here, but the initiation of this particular crack is taking place, and the progression mode is throughout the particular material is taking and enlarging themselves to leading to the crack of the particular material. In this figure, you can identify. This is another example of the crack development and the fracture surface, that is, you can see how this particular step-by-step segregation is indicating that crack propagation is taking place inside the material. As you can see, the crack development is taking place, the segregation indicating the step in crack advancement, and this particular surface, fracture surface is showing the fatigue failure, that is due to the cyclic loading is taking place. And the third figure is showing the initiation site, that is how the progression of that particular crack of the fatigue is taking place. So, on that behalf, we are now comparing the particular brittle versus ductile fracture that taking place. The extensive particle deformation or energy absorption, the toughness before the fracture is called the ductile material, and the brittle material, the rigid plastic deformation, the low energy absorption before the fracture. As you can see, this particular graph is also showing the particular fracture, the tendency of the material in the risk stress and strain graph. And the very ductile material, which is the moderately ductile fracture, is typically for the normal material, and the very ductile material, which is the PP and A room at the room temperature T, the polymer glass is at the high temperature T, and the brittle fracture is taking place in the ceramic and the cold material as well. So this is a ductile fracture that is taking place. The step-by-step procedure is showing in this particular figure, that is the A, B, C, D, E is showing. The first particular position is taken showing the necking, and the necking is happening due to the adjustment of the atom at their edges, and due to that adjustment, the void and the cavity formation is taking place, and they are positioning themselves at a particular location due to the loading, and due to that particular propagation, the crack initiated at the 90 degree of the stress applied, and this particular leading to the maximum stress, and there the propagation leading to the fracture of the material. So these are the particular figure which is showing the cup and cone fracture of the aluminum, and the electron scanning electron microscope spherical, that is the impulse, the microcavity that initiated crack propagation is showing in this particular figure. Another figure is showing the brittle fracture, the load dislocation mobility, how it works. That is the showing the brittle fracture inside the material, the transigular fracture, the transigular fracture. The transigular fracture क्या होता है? The crack passes through the grain. Fracture surface face texture because of the different orientation of cleavage plane in the grain. Intergranular fracture, the crack propagation is along grain boundary, and the grain boundary are weakened, embrittlement by impurities, segregation, etc. So that is the crack propagation is fast, that propagates nearly perpendicular to the direction of the applied stress, often propagate by the cleavage, the breaking of the atomic bond along specific crystallographic planes, and no appreciable plastic deformation is taking place. Now the stress concentration for the fracture of the brittle solid, how it is particular is taking place. So that particular figure is taken by the University of the University of Virginia, showing the particular theoretical study and graphical study. So different due to the stress concentration in the microscopic flaw and the stress amplified at the tip of the micro crack, etc. They call the stress razor. That is how this particular crack is taking place. The initiation of the crack is taking place here. As you can see, the two edges of the atom left themselves, and the progression of the crack is taking place here as well. That progression. Now we will just comparing the fracture, the ductile fracture and the brittle fracture. So the fracture is defined as the separation or fragmentation of the solid body into two or more parts under the action of the stress, and that is how this particular point is to be identified at an atomic level. So fracture is classified based on the several characteristics. The characteristics are the strain to fracture, that is ductile and brittle, the crystallographic mode, shear and cleavage, appearance, the fibrous and the grey in the ductile, granular and bright in the brittle, the crack propagation along the grain boundary, in the brittle, the through the grain, and this is the basic parameter, this is the basic differences, comparison of the ductile failure and the fracture and the brittle failure according to the parameters. So the strain energy required in the ductile fracture higher, brittle fracture is low. The stress during the cracking is increasing, and that is in the brittle is the constant. In the crack propagation, it is slow and it is faster. In the warning sign, the plastic deformation is taking place, that you can see the fracture is taking place, but in the brittle fracture, the sudden fracture is happening. There is no warning sign. So in the deformation, that is extensive, and that is the little, because that is the brittle fracture is possessing the brittle nature of the fracture. The necking is taking place in this particular ductile nature, but in the brittle there is no ductile necking is taking place, as you saw in the particular stress strain diagram of that particular ductile and brittle material. The fracture surface is showing as the rough and the dull, but in the brittle they are looking at the smooth and the bright. And the top of the material, that are the most of the material, not too cold material that are made by the cold process, and the brittle material, they are the ceramic, glasses and the ice. These are the basic practical happened example of the brittle, that is the fatigue failure, that is the Liberty ship that produced during the World War II, where the first all-welded ship. These are the welded joint. As I told you, the welding, the fatigue is happening at the joint where the fluctuating loads is taking place. A significant number of ships failed by the catastrophic fracture, and the fatigue crack nucleated at the corner of the square hatches and the propagate rapidly by the brittle fracture as the temperature changes. So the low temperature can suffer embrittlement in the steel and lead to this kind of a fatigue failure. Now the effect of the metallurgical variable, the fatigue related property are sensitive to the specimen geometry, the microstructure including the residual stresses and the stresses reserve and the surface finish as well. So the smooth surface finish and compressive residual stresses improve the fatigue property. They increase the fatigue life of the material. In some cases, the correlation is found between the property determined from the static tensile stress test, that is the UTL, with the determination of the fatigue tensile testing, the fatigue limit, and however there is no university to be able to be versality. So that is how this particular low stacking material in the cross slip is more difficult, and hence obstacle cannot be overcome easily by cross slip, as you can see. So this point is explaining that if the slip is taking place, the slip can be spread out more uniformly, then the fatigue life will improve. So that the slip is, when the slip is taking place in a uniform manner, in a very uniformly manner, the fatigue life of the material will increase. So as you can see in this particular figure. So the further the low SFP material, the grain size play an important role in determining the fatigue life. As you can see, in low stacking fault energy material, the cross slip is more difficult, and hence obstacle cannot be overcome easily by cross slip. The opposite is true for high SFP material. So in high SFP material, that is stacking fault energy, the dislocation cell structure form on deformation, and these play a more important role in stage 1 crack initiation and compared to the grain size. And the presence of the interessential and substitutional alloying element play an important role in the determining the SN curve, and the interessential solute which contribute to strain aging give rise to the fatigue limit in the SN curve, that substitutional element increase the fatigue life without introducing a fatigue limit. As you can see, this particular graph which is representing the endurance limit of the particular material, the graph representing the enhancement strain aging effect, which gives the tolerance to the higher stress value. Interessential short element like CEV scale introduce fatigue limit due to the strain aging, and for a given stress, more number of cycles to the failure. That are the particular point defining by this particular graph. So this is how we can concluding this fatigue fracture, as this particular fracture is very important to identify in various material, and by identifying this particular fatigue failure we can examine the also the life of the material by testing all this fatigue limit of that particular material. So this is the SN curve, which is very helpful to identify the particular fatigue life of the material that is going under through the various repetitive load, and that is how we can select the material for this kind of a repetitive load, and to design a kind of a component for further working. So for this, I am holding this lecture, and for further inquiry, you can ask any question if any doubt is taking place. So for that, thank you.